Welcome. My name is Lisa Candera and I am the Autism Mom Coach. In this video, I am going to teach you the 3 must-have mindset shifts that you need for every IEP meeting. Before we get started, let's talk about why your mindset is so important in an IEP meeting. Well, first and foremost, it is the one thing that you can control. You can control the thoughts that you're thinking, the emotions that you're feeling, and what actions you take and you do not take during the IEP meeting. But in order to do this the most effectively for your child, you need to be purposely focused on the thoughts that you are thinking before you even walk into the meeting. And here's why. It's the think, feel, act cycle, which says the way you think creates the feelings, the emotions in your body, and those emotions fuel your actions, both in what you do and what you don't do. What this means for your IEP meeting is the thoughts that you are thinking about the meeting, about the team, about your child's progress will directly impact how you show up, how effectively you show up during that meeting. So let's talk about some of the common thoughts that many of us have going into IEP meetings. I'm taking these from my own experience and from my clients. Some of the thoughts. They hold all of the power. And when we're thinking this, we feel resentment or fear, maybe even anger. Another thought. They are out to screw us. I don't know how common this thought is, but it's a thought I've heard more than once from my clients. And that is a thought that will create anger. Another thought. They can't be trusted. How many of you have walked into an IEP meeting looking around the table and feeling like, I can't trust a one of you, right? And when you're feeling this way, you are distrustful. You're more likely to shut down or to just tune them out. Another thought, my child is so far behind. When you were thinking this thought, there is so much fear and there's so much pressure on you in that moment, in that meeting, to get everything you think you need and then some so your child can catch up. My child's future depends on this. That's going to cause fear in you, maybe even desperation, and that will be the energy that you walk into the meeting with. A couple other thoughts that I don't have on here, but I am going to address in this training, and I see this all of the times in the moms that I coach, is fear of not being liked. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want them to think I'm asking for too much. I don't want them to think I'm dramatic. Things like that. So those thoughts too, all of that coming into the IEP meeting, all of those thoughts in your head that you are thinking, creating these emotions in your body, it shows up in your actions. And I'm going to show you how that well, first, a lot of us enter that meeting defensive and combative. That energy alone is going to create disconnection between you and all of the other people at that table. You may use accusatory language like, well, you lied about that before and you didn't do that when you said you were going to do it, that kind of a thing. You might focus on past grievances that have nothing to do with what you are presently asking for and the present situation with your child. It's going to create an environment of defensiveness and combative. You might just go in there assuming bad intent and assuming that whatever comes out of their mouth comes from a bad place and always trying to figure out like what game are they playing. Some thoughts that you're thinking before an IEP meeting might actually lead to you deferring to the school. You might avoid speaking up. You might avoid saying what you really want to say because you're afraid that if you do it, that the other team members won't like you, and you think that it's better that they like me than that I say what I need to say about my child's services. Another thing that doesn't happen, whether you come in combative or you come in meek as a mouse, is you're not asking clarifying questions. And this is so important because in these IEP meetings, you will be denied services. There's no doubt it's going to happen, right? I always think of IEP meetings like the scene in Austin Powers. He asked the same question 3 times, and then on the 3rd time, they just tell him the answer. Well, that's how I view the IEP process. You're probably not going to get it on your first go, so you have to keep on going. But when services are denied, you want as much data and information about that decision. you're in a combative mood. You're going to be more in that accusatory language and that anger, defensiveness, instead of asking the really detailed questions that you're going to need to build your case and to document your previous request and denials. Finally, when you're going in with all of these different thoughts about the school having all of the power, assuming bad intent, being afraid to speak up because they won't like you, all of that takes the focus away from your child. And that is ultimately the reason that you are in this room to begin with, right? You didn't walk into this room to make friends. You walked into this room to advocate for your child. But when you are consumed with all these different thoughts and emotions that I'm talking about, you lose your focus. So now we're going to talk about the 3 mindset shifts that you can use to show up more powerfully to your child's next IEP meeting. The first mindset shift that I use and I love and I teach all of my clients is, this is not personal. Now, I know it feels personal. In fact, I know it feels more personal than anything because it has to do with your child. However, when you're thinking, this is personal, this is for my kid, it's going to put you in your fight-flight state. When you go into that fight-flight state, you lose access to your highest level of thinking because your fear brain is in control. And so the very first thing we want to make sure of going into these IEP meetings is that you are in control. And one way that I have found very helpful to stay in control is to remind myself, this is not personal. It's not about them against me. It's not about them liking me. This is about my child. If this isn't personal, doesn't resonate with you, or that actually makes you feel more defensive, other variations could be, this is business. I have a job to do. What this means, though, is you are here to advocate for your child. You're here for a purpose. And why this works is it keeps you focused on your child, the reason you are there. It keeps you calm and collected. Again, our thoughts create our emotions. If we are thinking thoughts that are creating anxiety, fear, anger, that's putting us in our fight-flight zone and we are no longer in control. Our highest level of thinking is offline and we are being run by our emotions. Third, it helps you see through the noise. There's a lot of back and forths in these meetings. There's a lot of tangents that are taking. You get it off topic quite a bit in these meetings. But when you're not taking it personally and you're looking at this like I have a job to do, you're able to stay focused better and cut through all of the noise and get to the points that you want to make. And then finally, you will ask questions and you will ask better questions. Again, you're not here to prove that you are the most cooperative parent ever. You are here to get a job done for your child. And to get that job done, you need information and data. The second mindset shift that I want you to adopt for your next IEP meeting and really throughout your journey as an autism parent is, I am the CEO of my child's team. You are the permanent member of this team. You are the glue that brings it all together because you knew your child before they were in first grade, second grade, eighth grade, whatever it is. You know the history and you live with them. So you are the glue for this team. You are the expert. And so when you go into this mindset of I am the CEO of this team, it creates such a higher level of energy for you. I really want you to start to embrace this, your expertise on your child. No one outranks you in this. Now, this isn't to say that you walk into the IEP meeting saying, hey, guess what? I'm the CEO, I'm the expert, I know everything, and you just have to listen to me. Because again, using the CEO analogy, that is not how it works. I like to think of the members of this team as my board of directors, my temporary board of directors, and I get it, the analogy isn't perfect, but still using this analogy and thinking from that high level, long-term strategic point of view. Why this works is because you lead with more confidence. You advocate without apologizing. Again, you are the CEO of the team. And as part of that job, you are going to advocate, you're going to ask the hard questions without apologizing. Because again, going back to mindset shift number 1, this isn't personal. You hold people accountable. The CEO isn't out there implementing the company's strategy and doing the work of the company. They are at a higher level, more strategic view. And in some ways, when it comes to the school team, so are you. So when certain members of the team are tasked with certain activities and certain goals and they're not happening, you want to understand why. And in order to do that, you have to be able to have the uncomfortable conversations and ask the hard questions. Going in with the CEO strategy, again, you think more strategically because you're playing the long game. And I want to give you an example of what this looks like. I have been to over 50 IEP meetings easily in my time parenting my child who is almost 18. There have been times where I've gone into an IEP meeting asking for a higher level of support and not getting it. And of course, it was documented in writing that my request was denied. However, using that and collecting data between that point and the next point that I asked for a meeting, I was able to clearly demonstrate all of the struggles my son was having and documenting that denial. And it's okay, we tried it your way. Now, so the next step is to give more support. And so this is all to say is you will probably get denied. This is all to say, if you get denied the first time, the second time, thinking strategically, if you can't undo those denials, at least in the short term, what questions can you ask of the team to better understand why they are denying it, what they would need to see in order to grant it, and what they're not seeing, for you to use that information to build your case and to collect your data. And finally, the third mindset shift that I invite you to adopt is no one IEP will make or break my child's future. And what this means is exactly that. No one meeting, no one school year, no one teacher, etc. will make or break your child's future. It's really important for you to remind yourself of this, because if you go into every IEP meeting with the thought, I have to get it right or else my child is doomed, that will create so much pressure and anxiety for you. This is just one meeting. This is not going to make or break anything. It's part of the process. And why this works is that it takes the pressure off of you. And then finally, you avoid emotional burnout. Again, if you're going into every IEP meeting thinking, I have to get it right, I have to get as much as possible, as soon as possible, you will burn out very quickly. And that is no good for your child because, again, this is a very long game. So to sum up, the 3 mindset shifts that I invite you to adopt for your next IEP meeting is 1, it's not personal. 2, I am the CEO of my child's team. And 3, no one IEP will make or break me. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more videos just like this.